Cavs gang! Ugh! That feels dirty. That doesn't sit well with me. But we gotta make this guide. We gotta make it for everybody. A lot of Cavs gang in here. Alright. What is up, rockers? I'm Shinchi42. In today's video, we are going to talk about what is it like to be a Cavs gang. I've seen a lot of requests on my comments about Cavs gang from my previous video when we talk about Archer gangs. So in today's video, we're going to talk about all these commanders riding in a unicorn, which is a Cavs gang. The cavalry troops, they are the fastest moving creature in Rise of Kingdoms. I'm calling it creature because they're dirty Cavs gang. But anyway, the fastest units in here is going to be your Cavs. Of course, they're running with unicorns. Now, commanders, whenever you're starting out with Cavs, the first commander you're going to be getting into is, you know, legendary wise, going to be Minamoto or Cao Cao. Minamoto, you have to purchase Minamoto. I think 275 bucks in total to get him maxed out with all the legendary sculpture. For Cao Cao, you can definitely get him from the daily shop and of course from the golden key as well. So since I have maxed out Cao Cao, I can only get Charles Martel now. But initially, when you first start the game, you can purchase the daily bundle and get Cao Cao. Now, into the epic commanders, you also have in the beginning is Pelagius, Baybars. So here, Pelagius, Baybars, and Belisarius. Now, the biggest question is, which commander should you focus on first? And how should you approach the game with Cavs commander? What I would suggest is, in the beginning, what you really need to work on is get Pelagius and as well as Belisarius. And then you're probably saying, okay, where is Baybars in there? Well, of course I want you to get Baybars as well. But the reason why we're getting Belisarius is that if you are in a war and you want to move around quicker, you kind of want to fight in a war with having a moving speed so that you don't get wrecked easily. Because if you're moving pretty slow in the field, you're going to get wrecked. Now, there's not a whole lot of damage with Belisarius as a primary commander due to the mobility tree. So as a free-to-play player, what you need to do is hunt farmers using Belisarius, right? You're going to be using Belisarius hunting those gatherers. Now, once you eventually get Baybars, what I would recommend for you for PvP fighting is definitely going to be Pelagius and Baybars. Now, let's say you don't have Baybars yet and you have Pelagius and Belisarius. If you're hunting for farmers, use Belisarius as a primary. And if you're not hunting for farmers and you're fighting into the field, what I would recommend for you is to use Pelagius as a primary, and then either you can have Belisarius as a secondary at that point. Now, once you finally got Baybars, that's going to be really nice for you in the open field. Now, even using Belisarius and Baybars is really great because Baybars has a marching speed reduction, which is going to be really beneficial for Belisarius whenever you're trying to chase an opponent. Now, if you're looking into the commanders for cavalry, there's 3 Cav commanders as of right now. You're probably wondering, how am I going to pair these guys up? Now, what I would recommend is get Osman. What you can do is a Pelagius and Osman full Cavs, right? Or you can even do a Osman Pelagius, depends on what you want. If you want more troops, you can do that. You want more buff into the Cavs, you can use Pelagius. Now, what I would do for the second march, it would be Belisarius and Baybars if you're trying to hunt for farmers. I would say you kind of want to have a reserve in the back end where you can chase opponents that way. I wouldn't use the Belisarius and Baybars in big clutch of war, right? That's what I would suggest for the Cav commander. And in the beginning, I would really recommend for you to start working on Cao Cao. If you're free to play, this is going to be your commander that you need to max out. And if you're a person who spends the money, you can definitely max out Minamoto, and that's going to be very easy for you, and that's going to help you out in Season 1. Now, Cao Cao is definitely great because as you move into the next season, you would start now working with Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is a very, very OP commander. Remember, the rage of this one is 950, so it casts a lot faster than most of the commanders, and also he has an ability to gain rage as well in here. And keep in mind also that he is a versatility talent commander, meaning that everything in here will take an effect into the field. So as you move forward for the next season, if you are a spender, I wouldn't really recommend this for free to play. I think for free to play, you stop on Genghis Khan. And if you're a spender, I would say you want to get into Attila and Takeda, because that's really the meta. And I think right now, as of today, that is the strongest combo for Cavalry right now. Attila and Takeda. So as a whale, this is going to be your progression. So actually, I would kind of step back a little bit in here with the Khan where you stop. I would say get Saladin. You can do a Saladin 5-5-5-1, and you can either stop from there, or if you want to really move forward and max him out, you can, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I think 5-5-5 Saladin is already really great, a lot of value already. When you expertise Saladin, you do get an increase of the damage factor for about 300, and decrease healing and marching speed of the target. It's not that much really, so I would say 5-5-5-1 is good enough, right? You don't even need to get 5-5-5 5. Now the question is, would you have to get Saladin as level 60? I wouldn't really recommend it. If you have Genghis Khan, I would do a Khan Saladin combination, and that works well. As a free-to-play, you don't need the fort skill of Saladin. You don't need to raid cities. There's no value for that for you, and therefore you're not going to get expertise. So this is a good value for a legendary commander for F2P. But I would still suggest for you guys to have a Tao Tao max. Now once you do a Khan Saladin, you can use your Tao Tao with Belisarius, and then by then what you can do is you can do a Pelagius and Baybars combination. So those are some of the good combos that I can give you for free to play, and kind of like for those spenders as well. Now, how do you actually play cavalry commanders, right? So in my opinion, Cavs are the easiest one to play. I mean, I started with Cavs. When I first did my videos before, we implemented the full Cavs march. So before, a lot of players weren't really doing full Cavs. So when we were making videos, we realized that we should be launching full Cavs to get all the benefits and the moving speed. It's funny enough, if you remember way back then, a lot of players are actually doing a lot of mixed troops, even on cavalry commanders. And so some of the newer players in or players that just started like maybe 6 months ago, you guys have already seen like, okay, full Cavs, full infantry, full archer. When we actually first started this game, nobody was really doing that, and there wasn't a lot of information there. And I believe I was one of the first one to actually show it on YouTube that time. And the benefit for Cavs, actually you can see some of our wars. So you can find the it's a war movie. You can see our first war there with my count in Kingdom 41, and I've learned a lot from the Chinese players with Kai. We were talking a lot, and we just shared a lot of knowledge there before. The way you play Cavs is very much different for the way you play infantry or archer. For Archer, I've said that I like to play Archer in a very short distance. So for Cavs, if you're new and you don't really understand much, what I would really recommend is get T4 rather than T5. But if you're really a big whale, you can have both, of course. But for me at this point, where I'm trying to conserve, I want to get more T4 than T5. And I want to use my Cavs into the open field, because I kind of feel like I've been, really moving really slow, and I'm really losing a lot of those enjoyment on open field where I can catch up on a lot of players. Getting T4 for Cavs is much faster than getting T5. That's pretty obvious, right? Don't upgrade all your T4 if you're a spender into T5. Don't make the same mistake that I did. Now, how do you really play for Cavs? What you need to do is you need to be marching across the nodes, and you get extra bonus on the moving speed that way. For Cavs, there are multiple approaches. All right, I would say majority of the time when you're playing with Cavs, it's going to be on offense. A lot of players neglect the defense of Cavs, and which kind of makes me really sad. Cavs have a great defense, and most people don't understand it. Here's what you can do with Cavs. Normally, you would get rallied by Attila and Takeda. Now, how can you kind of like match that, to counter it? What I would recommend is using you know, Saladin and Takeda. Where's Saladin? Saladin and Takeda, we've seen it in the battles in KVK. We've done it. It held quite well. I don't remember if it was really good, but it held it. If I can get a 1-to-1 ratio on Cavs, it's pretty good. But remember also when you're doing defense, right? Not everything goes to dead. Some of them goes to severely wounded. So you get the benefit of defending. We've also seen a Wu Zetian. Where's my Wu? Wu Zetian, and guess who it is? Who's the pair? Who's Cav Commander's pair? Comment down in the comment section below. Who do you think? Okay, so it is actually Wu Zetian and Takeda in full Cavs. And let me tell you that, as an archer guy, I would not rally that. I would not rally a Wu Zetian and Takeda. First of all, it's already insane to have Wu Zetian and the garrison. As an archer, it's really difficult to defeat Wu. Unless you have Ramses, it's doable. But even then, when they paired up Takeda and full Cavs, I'm so hesitant to use my archers because Cavs beats archers instantaneously. Now, what can defeat that combination? I haven't seen it yet, but I think if you do a Guan Yu, perhaps Alexander Guan Yu with infantry, I think that would work. But I haven't seen it yet. I'm just speculating right now that that would work. Now, another combination, right? If you're getting rallied by Attila and Takeda, you can also try to defend with an Attila and Takeda. And I've mentioned this before. Your goal there is not to get a very big good trades. Your goal now is to have more of a close to 1-to-1 ratio. And then, like I said, as a defender, you get the benefit of having severely wounded. And as the attacker, they're the one who's losing more because troops are getting deaths. Now, as a defender, what you should be looking into is batch healing. We did that video. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be insane healing title. You can look it up on YouTube. Now, that's really my suggestion. I think Cavs is a little bit easier to play with. You can move around to the field. You can hunt farmers much easier compared to other marches. The equipment on Cavs is really nice as well. A lot of players, you know, pretty much have an easy going with equipment on Cavs. So working on Cavs is definitely, I'd say, one of the most fun. So playing with Cavs is really fun, especially for beginners. As you move forward, I would say Archer still is going to be the most fun when you're playing with, you know, because of the AoE. Cavs are nice because it's easy to play with. I would say if you're starting out into the game, I would start learning how Cavs work because you learn a lot from it. You learn a lot about the movement into the field, and then you can transition that from your infantry and to your archers. So it's going to be that strategy. With Cavs Commander, they are squishy as well, but they're not as squishy as archers. And the reason why I say this is because Cavs counter archers. So there we go, right? And also Cavs have a lot of packing DPS, right? There are a lot of packing DPS. So Cavs also have some difficulty with infantries, but we're going to talk about that when we review Infantry Gang, because it's a certain combination where Cavs can succeed. One, when they have released Genghis Khan, it changed the meta, you know, of Cavs and infantry, because in the KVK Season 1, infantry is the meta. And then, once you move into the KVK Season 2, once Khan was introduced into the game, it switched to Khan, and Khan was able to dominate. Now, kind of all over the place in here, but I'm trying to do this more of a vlogging style. If you're working into mobility tree, what I would recommend is moving into this path. As you can see, this is my approach. This is more of a mobility farmer for Cao Cao, and also a PvP. So it's not a full PvP Cao Cao. As you can see, I have a peacekeeping. I don't like to switch talent tree, so this is what I do. You know, I don't really hunt a whole lot of farmers anymore, but whenever I do, I use this, you know, talent tree. But I also still use Cao Cao for, like, you know, other events, right? For, you know, defeating barbs, for KVK, or other neutral units. So I don't really have a whole lot of talent trees for Cavs, since I don't really focus much on Cavs. So you can check out our Discord for more information on the talent trees. Now, to just do a quick recap in here, if you're F2P, you definitely want to get Pelagius first, then get Belisarius, because Belisarius is very important for F2P. And then you can start working on Bay Bars. And the first legendary commander that I would recommend for you to max out is definitely Cao Cao. Not just because of his mobility, capability and hunt farmers. And the reason why is that you have another peacekeeping commander and it's a legendary and it's strong. Then you have, a very good marching speed as well in here, right? So 10%, and you also have healing. And the best thing about Cao Cao is that he has a lot of things in here. He can do debuff and has a high damage factor. So Cao Cao, I would say, is definitely a must. And then what I would recommend, if you can manage to get Genghis Khan, and I think you can. If you're F2P, you can do it. We have, players in Dark Kingdom, but they've been playing for more than a year now before they get this. So it may take you a while. So as F2P, every guide that I have in here really works well with spenders as well. So this is kind of like F2P / spender guide. So work on Genghis Khan next. And if you manage to get Saladin, Saladin is kind of one of those guys that we kind of neglect. I would say get Saladin 555 only. So perhaps what you can do is, as a F2P, maybe you can skip on Genghis Khan. What you can do instead is get Saladin as 555 and stop from there, and then you can use Cao Cao as another commander. But then the big thing here is that you don't really have a good primary commander. Then what you can do is you can do a Pelagius and Saladin. That's going to be a very good combination as well. So F2P, I wouldn't really recommend on getting Attila and Takeda. So this is going to be for spenders. Now, Civilization. Which civs should you start? This is going to be very intriguing. What I would recommend for you to start with is, now don't start with Germany. So what I would recommend is for you to start with actually Spain. And get Pelagius. Alright, so once you start with Spain, you will have Pelagius as your main commander, and you would get all those sculptures, right? So once you get all those sculptures from your main quest, now at level 10, you would be granted a civ change. Now, what I would recommend from there is for you to switch into Germany. Now, should you switch at level 10 right away? Now, it's up to you. You get a lot of benefits in here as well. Experience points gained from barbarians and other neutral units. You should be grinding the barbs and guardians and level up your epic commander. And then, once you're ready, go ahead and move into Germany. I would really recommend Germany for Cavs Gang. Cavs attack plus 5%, troop training speed plus 5%, and action point recovery, which is going to really help F2P players in here. So we've talked about a few things in here. We've talked about the civilization, how you play Cavs, right? Moving speed is really good. And I would say if you're Cavs, there's really no hesitation on, kind of being up front, because you can definitely target those archers. But I would still recommend for you to let the infantry come out first, and then you kind of come to the second. Thirdly is we talked about the commanders, how you're going to approach commanders in here. And fort, I don't think I have a fort one, but I guess the units, right? I would recommend for you guys to have T4 units, because T5 units is uberly slow. You want to have some T4 units to kind of move around to the field because it's much faster. And having T4 units is definitely much cheaper on healing cost and healing time cost. So with that being said, hopefully this video is actually helpful for you guys, and hopefully you guys would succeed being a Cavs gang, even though I don't like it as much, because Cavs gang really is the doom of archers. It's really difficult as me for an archer gang in here to fight against Cavs gang. So for Cavs gang, you guys should definitely appreciate this video, because I've even given you some tips in here how to fight archers, and you guys will definitely succeed if you actually paid attention on the combos that I actually suggested to you guys. One more thing before we end this video. Khan CC on the flag. It does work. You're probably wondering, what in the world, Shin? We'll take a look. Sorry, here's a Edward and basically an archer rally going against a Cav defense. So this is my suggestion to put a cavalry defense. See, look, it's melting. See? That's how you counter an archer rally. I don't really disclose this because this counters the shit out of me. But eventually we have to release this information. So if you're watching this, it's because I decided to release this information. Here is the, I don't release that info, but look at this trade-off. 51k, 82k. That's how you defend a flag against archers. Con CC works on defending structure. Going against archer commanders. I've never shown this, but when you are in that stage where Edward Woodstock has been released and there's, you know, it's really hard for infantry gangs to defend, use Con CC if you don't have other commanders, right? If you don't have Wu Zetian, use Con CC and you can definitely succeed on defending against archers. Shh. My archer gang's gonna hate me for saying this, but it is a video to guide Cavs as well. Just to let you guys know, even though I'm not a big fan of Cavs, I still love you guys. Anyway, rockers, thanks for watching. Hopefully this video was definitely helpful. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, definitely subscribe now. And if you want to help other players in here, tag them, or I think just share the video to them, and hit that like button if you guys appreciate the content. Anyway, I'll see you again next time, and wait for the infantry gang video.